Once you've nailed down your marketing, your product, and your relationships, there's one central point that remains. You need to be able to build a bulletproof business.
Hey guys, welcome back to the 5th video of this series, and in this video we're gonna do the chess animation you just saw in the intro. Now I got a lot of requests for 3D animations in Iman Gadzhi style, and here we are. I did it, and I did one of the most complex videos for this 3D animation. I did it exactly like how you saw in the intro. And just another thing I wanted to announce is that you will see a link to a document in my bio. Please go over there and try to fill it out. I'm just trying to know requirements of the beginners that want to start with my private mentorship, as I got a lot of requests for them. And another thing I wanted to tell you guys is that I put the link to my Payhip in my bio, so if you want to learn how I make these animations, these project files will help a lot. But just to be clear, if you're really new to editing and you're really new to After Effects and Premiere Pro, then I wouldn't suggest you to get it just yet. I would suggest you to learn at least a bit more and then get it, because I don't want you to get something from me and not use it, because these are really beneficial, but they're only beneficial once you start understanding these apps more. As well as, I just wanted to point out that I've seen many of you guys recreate these animations, and I really appreciate the support, and I'd really appreciate if you guys can credit me when posting these on any social platform, so people can know that you got them from my tutorials, and that would really be supportive. With that being said, let's get right onto the video. And in this video we're going to do the chess animation that you just saw in the intro, so let's look at it again and just do a quick breakdown. So here you can see the horse coming up, and then the rook, and the bishop of course, and the queen, and everything behind. The opacity gets lower on them, and then the bulletproof business text comes up. There's film gradient, and there is also a grid over here if you can focus. So we're gonna recreate this animation exactly. As for that, we're gonna need these 3D chess models. So I'm not gonna waste time in this video as we did last videos. We want this video to be as short as possible, so I'm gonna link these below in the description. And I did promise in my previous videos that I'm gonna put assets in the description, but stuff always goes on where other people take my videos, recreate them, and then take credit for them. I don't have a problem if you recreate the videos and post them on Twitter, and even if you don't at me, that's still fine, but I'd really prefer if you guys could at least credit me for animations that you remake, so these tutorials get more support and I can keep doing these for a long time. And that's not the only case. There are some people that actually did something, was that they remade the animations. That's completely fine, as I said, but then they said that they would make a tutorial out of it when the tutorial already exists, and they took full credit of doing the animation from scratch, which really disappointed me. And I even spoke to that person and she actually blocked me on Twitter. So with that being said, let me search for the 3D model chess first, and then I'm gonna have to open Blender, and in Blender I'm gonna have to extract the pieces one by one. So I'm gonna skip all these parts. I'm just gonna put the chess pieces in the description so you don't have to face the trouble. With that being said, I'll be right back after I have all the 3D.
A few moments later.
Okay guys, we're back, and let me just import all the OBJ models. So to import the 3D models, now it gets complicated from here. First thing you would need is Element. Element is an external plugin which you have to get from Google. I'm gonna put the original link to Element in the description, and you can get it however you want to get it. You can crack it, it's really easy. There's tons of videos, none of them are a virus, so don't worry about that. Anyways, so to continue from here, you would need Element. So we have to create a black solid. First thing, in black solid we'll add an effect called Element. And what Element is, it's a 3D model app. It's an app built in within After Effects. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna come in. Over here you can see we have rook, queen, knight, and bishop. So let me just import, for example, the first one would be the rook. So our rook is can't see it, but wait, let me do normalize scale. Here it is, perfect. Now we need to make this straight. This is a bit weird because it is automatically rotated. What the hell, I'm lost. I think this should be fine. Let's look at it over here. Perfect. Now we need to create Another solid, gonna come over here, another solid, and in this solid we're gonna add element again, and over here we're gonna add our horse. So import, now I have a knight. Normalize scale and just make this 270 as we did last time, and now our knight is also imported. We just keep creating solids and do the same thing over and over again. I'm gonna be back to you guys once I import all of them. And here we are, guys, we have all the pieces. So we're gonna name all of them one by one just to not get confused. So this one will be rook, okay, this one is our knight, this one is our bishop, and the last will be queen. First thing we want to do is we want this exact same grid, and to create this grid it's nothing too hard. Let's get working on it. You're gonna come over here, create a solid first thing, which will be black, okay, and then on top of it you're gonna create your grid, name it grid, and we import an effect called grid. Alright, you wanna come over here, get to width slider, zoom this as much as possible, I guess, make both of these 3D. Okay, so let's do this for both of them. Gonna create a null for both of them. Good. So we want it around as much as them. You can see it's really similar. However, I think we need to tilt this down a bit more. So let's pull this down. Let me just turn off. Okay. So as you can see, we need to just rotate this a bit more. So let me pull this down. And yeah, we have it almost similar. It's very similar, I'd say. And we just need this to be on the floor the same way it is over here. So now, the trick is, I think these squares aren't as wide as I think they are. Let me just position this a bit to the front, this way. And yeah, we have it exactly aligned. What we need to do is we're gonna have to so now you can see, now we have it almost exactly the same, around 600. Perfect. And to extend it now, what we need to do is we're gonna have to add something called motion tile. So for motion tile, once you add it, come over here, mirror edges, and now see it's mirrored, but towards the front side it needs to be more mirrored, so we're gonna extend this. You can see now it's gonna be more extended. Okay, perfect. 800 is a bit too much for motion tile. Okay, so now we recreated our grid, and we just need to put the opacity down as much as they did. For them it's very low, so we're gonna have to put the opacity down as much. Let's just place these down. I'm gonna color them and I'm gonna lock them so that they're not touched anymore. We cannot touch these grids at all. Okay. Now let's come to our animation. Over here we'll see horse, rook, and whatever it is. So let's just time where all of them come in. Let's say around 5 seconds, all of them come in one by one. They all have the same animation in the same way. So now comes the hard part. It's not actually hard. It's pretty easy. So for example, if I want to move the rook, I can't just do this because the whole thing moves and it's messed up. There is a way where you can customize the 3D. This is the main part and the best part of it. This is the magic. You're gonna come to group 1, whatever, create group null, and just create. Now I'm gonna name this null rook. So you see here it's automatically linked. It's you're not gonna link it like this, nope. It's automatically gonna be linked. So now when I move this, the rook moves. You can see this is the magic. It's the best thing. And we just want to do this for all of them, one by one. So now I have my horse. For my horse, group 1, create group null, created, and just name this knight null. Okay, let's do the same thing for bishop. Group 1, create null, create here, bishop, null. Perfect. Now what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to position all of them the same way. It's nothing too hard, pretty easy I'd say. And the queen, just leave it out for now. Queen, we don't need to touch it for now. So for these, what we want to do is we're gonna have to position. Let's count the position. How many seconds is the position? So you can see now my position is like the first piece comes up in 2.5 seconds. So before keyframing these, we're just gonna set their proper places. So let me just turn all of them. Our knight will be here and our rook will be here, and all of them will be pulled down to be smaller because they're too big now. Let's skip to 5 seconds and see their proper places. Pull this down a bit the same way, and what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to rotate this a bit, tilt it so that it looks like it's floating, but it's not actually floating. So unfortunately our rook piece is a bit messed up, like it's automatically rotated. It was from the original piece, but that's fine. We're just gonna ignore that for now. And now we need to set our knight properly. So our knight, set it down, let's rotate it this way, minus 180, and just position it the same way. All of these pieces are actually messed up, they didn't come properly. That's fine, I guess. We're just gonna have to deal with it. And now finally for our bishop. Our bishop is gonna be a bit larger. And rotate it towards this direction like this. And yeah, perfect. Now we're gonna have to position all of these 2.5 seconds. The same way. Let's come over here. Click P. Make all of them come from up. And let's look at the graph. So I'm just gonna color this because it's getting really confusing for me. Now we know that the pink layers are the actual layers, and then these yellow layers are the null. So let's look at the graph they used. Yep, I can already tell the graph they used. It's pretty easy to tell. Let me get on all the nulls. Over here, F9. Once you do F9, you're gonna take this all the way like this. And okay, so the graph used was this one, and they obviously have posterized time, which we're gonna add in the end, which differs with the speed. Okay. Now what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna set the rotation, all of them. Gonna come over here, click R. The rotation is gonna be Y rotation. Okay. Let's go 1 frame behind, and I'm pretty sure it comes from minus 180, something like this. Yep. Let's take this, and we're gonna do the same graph. You can see the same graph. Now let's see. Amazing, perfect. Let's compare both these. I'm looking at the horse, by the way, because the horse is the one that comes up first. The horse is extremely similar, except we have posterized time. So we aced the graph. We have the graph as the same thing. Let's have our grid on and see. Perfect. So for the queen part, we'll bring up the queen over here, and we'll do pretty much the same thing. So first thing, before we get onto the queen part, let's sync these the same way here to synced, and we add the text. Okay. So I'm guessing there is a 1.5 minute delay between each layer. Okay, so first comes the horse, obviously, and then we come with the bishop. So our bishop will be pushed like this. We go half a second more, and our rook. I'm guessing this is how it is. Let's see. It's probably something like this. This feels too slow. So let's look at our final output. Here we are. Amazing. Perfect. Now we need to add the text. So first thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the circle of tick, the way they have it over here. I'm pretty sure this is a photo of Google, so let me find that. Okay, so I found the green circle tick model over here. You can see it is. We just need to do the text. So for the text, let's just write all of them down. So as for this font, I know what font it is already. It's probably the Montserrat. So let me just write down marketing. Okay, don't mind the font for now. Let me set this to white and remove the stroke by making this 0. And then we're gonna probably make this semi-bold. And as you can see, it's pretty similar. Yeah, that's perfect. We're just gonna duplicate this for each part. Here we're gonna write product, and here we're gonna write relationships. Perfect. Now let's turn this off. And what we need to do is we need to set the tick before the text. So let me pull this tick down the same way it is over here. Obviously the tick is not the same, but it's pretty similar. It does the job. And here we go. We have the first part of the animation basically done. The only thing we need to do now is switch these to 3D. Our tick is gonna be linked to our text. So this one to our product. So we just whip it. So for example, now when I move the relationships text, the tick of it will move with it together. Okay, now we're gonna have to link these text to their certain layers. So this one is gonna be linked to night null, and our product is gonna be linked to our bishop null, and our relationship is gonna be linked to our rook null. And as you can see, guys, this is perfect. This is exactly how we wanted it. Okay, now we need to work on the second part. So for the second part, this may get a bit complicated. Let's put a focus and see how the second part goes. Here we would need cameras for sure. Okay, first thing we wanna check where the animation starts from. Let's say from 4.5 seconds. It finishes all the way at 8.5. Wow, that's pretty long, around 4 seconds. Okay, so before we animate our queen, we just need to figure out how we're gonna move all of this backward. So that shouldn't be too hard. The trick for it is that we're gonna make a camera. Okay, use these settings as me. We cut it here exactly. We're gonna position and then position here as well. So let me turn this off and see how we can manage to make this look as similar as possible. You can just skip to the camera settings. By zooming into the position, you can see what camera I exactly did. And right now for the null, I need to also adjust the grid, basically the floor, so it's a bit rotated, because you cannot do that with the camera. Yeah, so I made it like around -75, as you can see. And we're also gonna have to keyframe the null of these the same way with rotation around something that is pretty similar. So it's gonna be the X rotation. Gonna take it to the starting and just make it, and just bend this like a bit more, not too much. Perfect. I think we're good to go like this. As for the graph, let's click U on our keyboard. All of this comes up. So for the graph, we're gonna have to do something. Let's click all of these, which are our new keyframes that we set out. And we're gonna do the graph that is in the middle. It's gonna be like this. Okay. Let's check it out. Let's make the square. Amazing. That's not too bad. I think this is perfect. I'm really glad with how this came out. So let's just look at it. Okay, our text can be better, and over here, perfect. So now what we need to do is we need to bring out our queen at the moment this pieces are going down. So as for our queen, we're gonna set it on top of the camera, and then we're gonna do the same thing we did. Just go to group 1, create like this, okay, and we're gonna make this come from above the same way. Just wait up, let's set it as the position where it's proper first, where it's closer to the camera first, so the queen clearly looks like it's in front. Before we position, we need to just put our default place for the queen. So put it at the default place. Let's do that. Let's take this a bit more far. I feel like it's too close. Let's make this -1430 actually. 1430. Here, okay. That's good. We orient this to around, let's say 335. That's good. 335 is good, and we're just gonna have to pull this down more. So let's make this 700. Okay, just a bit lesser. Let's do a -10. Perfect. I think that's perfect. Now what we need to do is we need to keyframe the position from up to down. So let's do that. Position will come here normally, and then it will obviously come from all the way up. And the graph is gonna have to be this. The middle graph, if you want to look at it, it's 80 on both sides, okay? Also, if you guys didn't figure out already, it feels like it's coming from too close. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to make this come from far by doing this. Yeah. By increasing the value over here. Then let's pull this up more. And let's check it out now. Perfect. This is amazing. I'm really glad with how this turned out, and the final product is gonna be even better. Obviously, as you guys know, when this comes out in the original screen, the opacity goes down. But I don't think it's opacity. I feel like it's a combination of two things. The first thing it would be is vignette and a bit of solid. I'll show you what I mean. So first thing, let's get the adjustment layer and add CC vignette on this, okay? And we're gonna pull it below the queen. And what we wanna do is we wanna keyframe our vignette exactly. Amount from 0 till it reaches over here. We need something like okay. As you can see, this has already been decreased by a lot, but now on top of that we need a solid layer. I'm gonna tell you what I mean. Now obviously this is gonna disappear, everything that's gonna behind is gonna disappear, but we can keyframe the solid from 0 to make it a bit more opacity. Now you can see what I'm talking about. And in fact our vignette can even increase by more. We want to vignette this somewhere like this below. I know this is a bit complex. and it's hard to understand. I'm probably gonna do YouTube videos to teach users more about the interface of After Effects, but for now I'm focusing on the best animation style, the Iman Gadzhi animation style. And if I didn't mention already, I do have a private course and project files in my Payhip. Just check the description to DM me on WhatsApp and check my portfolio. Over there you can see all my videos and link to my Payhip to purchase my project files. And yep, let's continue. So what we need to do over here is we're gonna have to graph it. We're gonna have to do F9. Once you do F9, just do this graph. Okay, let's pull this backward, and the moment the queen starts coming up, this stuff starts happening. But I think it should happen a bit earlier, and this should be a bit faster. It's too slow. Let's check it out now. Amazing. So I pulled it back by a few frames. Here you can see we're perfect. Now what we need to do is we just need to add the final texts. So just to look at the text, I'm gonna focus on over here. and see what happens with the text. The first thing that happens is that the marketing and all these things disappear, starting from here. Okay, and bulletproof business comes up. So let's set the marker for these. They come from 8. You can see now I set the markers, and we just write the same exact thing, which is bulletproof business. Let's come over here. I'm gonna write bulletproof business. Accidentally added space over here. Perfect. Let's make this in the middle, larger, and I think the font is also good, and the way it comes is pretty easy to do. So first thing we want to opacitate, we're gonna have to do opacity, and then we need scale. These two things. Come over here, set another keyframe, make this come from like this point, from 0, and we want to add something called Gaussian blur as well. Keyframe the Gaussian blur, yeah, this much, and the graph we used is probably 80 on both sides, which we'll do like this, 80 here and 80 here. Let's play it. Perfect, guys, this is amazing. The scale is going from too low, so we're gonna scale it from rather 70, and our Gaussian blur is also too low, so let's make our Gaussian blur from 40, and let's see now. And the very last thing we have is just to reduce the opacity on all these things. We're gonna click T on your keyboard, come forward like 1 second, and just make this 0. This is the graph we're gonna do. Click F9. Okay, 85, around 85. And yeah, let's check it out. It's too early, it's happening a bit too early, so that's not a problem, we can delay that. We want it to happen around over here for sure. Let's check it out now. Amazing, guys, we're done with the 3D chess animation. This is perfect, guys. And our text bulletproof business comes up over here. I think the bulletproof business text can come a bit earlier, that's for sure. And now we need to add the final touches. As for the final touch, what you're gonna do is you're gonna pre-comp all of this. I'm done. Let's come over here. First thing we need to do is add an adjustment layer, and then here I added my preset. Check it out, you can copy it. Let's make this rather 14, and then we need our film grain, so let me add my film grain. For the film grain, once you add it, by the way, all of these will be in description, so don't worry. So film grain, once you add it, you do add mode, you can see now, and our film grain will go below our posterize time. And the most important thing is deep glow. Deep glow, let's add that. Right up deep glow. You're gonna make the spread around 400 and the opacity 0.4. And you can see how much better the whole thing becomes once we add deep glow. Deep glow is just a life hack to make everything better. There's one certain thing I forgot to do, which was to animate the rotation. So let me do that real quick over here. So here we are, guys. Let's look at our final animation. Perfect. It's a pretty close clone. Obviously it could have been better, but due to the time compression, could not make it as close as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really spend a lot of time trimming these. The raw footage is always around 2 hours, and then I have to compress it to as less as possible, along with the editing. I'd really appreciate if you guys can hit the subscribe button and like the video, comment something, share it to your friends or editing friends, and yeah, that's about it. Peace out.